Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk, episode 92. We're back in your life.
What was that?
I don't know, sister
that
podcast.
New thing?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was sitting at home trying to think of a new opening for the show, and it just came to me.
Okay.
So yeah, welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk, episode 92. This is Noel O'Keefe, and I'm joined as always by Robert Palin.
How's it going, man?
Not
How
bad.
was the weekend?
Exhausting.
Yeah.
Exhausting. We'll go into that in a minute. But we're brought to you, as always, by Fight Store Ireland, the fighter's choice. Everything you need under two roofs. Go check them out and tell them the lads from OFT sent you. MMAmix.com. They're obviously good because they're with, obviously, Fight Talk. And to feelsupreme.co.uk. Go check them out. You hear this every week. You know the gist. Use Fight Talk at the checkout. You get 10% off. Do it. This week we've a packed show. We will be later on looking ahead to UFC Fight Night 1, 2, 3. As easy as ABC. Swanson Ortega is your main event that night. Later on the show we will be joined by Aljamain, the Funk Master Sterling.
Great nickname.
We'll also be looking back at what a card, a recap of UFC 218. We're not saying he's the best. We're just saying there's nobody better.
Thanks, man.
Mr. Brendan Dorman. But Rob, we're going to start where we used to start, and we're starting to bring it back. OFT, quick fire news. So let's get 2 minutes on the clock, and let's get straight into it. Before Maymack, there was Silva Jones Jr., and years later, the two legends of combat sports are looking to make the fight happen. Anderson Silva and Roy Jones Jr. have publicly stated that they'd like to fight each other in a boxing bout. Go.
Yeah, man, it's a weird one. Like, back in the day, that was the talk of the town, if you will. Everyone was talking about Jones versus Anderson. And in some ways, it's a little bit more legitimate just because Anderson actually has a boxing background, like a professional boxing background, as far as I'm aware. He's had like 15 fights or something like that. At this stage in their careers, maybe it's more competitive. I don't know, because they're both older. Maybe, I don't know, Roy Jones is still good.
Yeah.
Do I have a huge interest in it? That's probably the bigger question. Not really. Will I watch it? Absolutely. I think it's always the way. Like, they're two huge stars. I definitely would watch it, but you know, it's not really a fight that needs to be made. Zuffa, the whole Zuffa boxing though, that's interesting.
But the thing I think is Anderson Silva's just being popped. So
Roy Jones said he doesn't care.
Yeah, but he still has to get commissioned.
Yeah, and I has to get commissioned by same commission.
Yeah, but the thing about this is, like, you know, Brendan speaks a good bit about Roy Jones as well. Just a little bit. He brings it up once or twice. So, like, again, it's the same wheelhouse now as Anderson Silva, Roy Jones. It's going to be the whole McGregor Mayweather thing. It's like, it's not going to be as big as that, but it's like, you know, the boxer's going to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course the boxer's going to win. Obviously, the only difference I feel with this one, and even though I don't have a huge interest in it, is that it's not a guy like Conor moving sports and moving away from the division and keeping on hold. It's Anderson, who really doesn't have much to do in the UFC right now. You know, he's still a legend. He's still a great fighter, but
it's like
he's not a champion.
It's like you saying there. That was quite funny. I'm gonna have to fly through this bit. You were saying, you know, am I interested in it? No. Will I watch it? Yeah.
That was like,
it was like Paul Mack from Clan Wars put up there the other night saying people giving out that Chuck Liddell's coming back and stuff. You know, nobody should have the right to tell Chuck Liddell not to fight and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to see it. You know what I mean? He's been to whatever. And within 2 or 3 comments is like, yeah, but like, I don't gonna watch it.
Yeah, but is that right though?
Probably no, this is the argument. We should have had this actually.
I'd watch a lot of things.
This is the argument though. If Chuck Liddell is medically cleared to fight, should he not be allowed to fight?
Yeah, probably.
Look, Rocky was allowed to fight.
Great one.
No, but honestly, he's not going to fight UFC level. Anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah,
Nico Montano became the inaugural UFC Women's Flyweight Champion at the TUF 26 final. I know, Rob, you were tuned in. Beating veteran Roxanne Modafferi by decision. Other shout-outs on the night was Brett the Pikeman. Johns got a great calf slicer against Joe Soto, but... did you watch it, Rob? I know you're such a big fan of TUF. You probably have it recorded so you can look back.
No, I didn't watch it because I don't like
Shocker.
the fights without the reality. Like, what's the point?
The pacing of the show was horrendous because all the fights kept finishing in armbars.
Yeah.
Like it was over like in the first minute. Like there was
UFC one.
just terrible. Just terrible matches.
Yeah, I only watched a couple of the fights. The main event, like it's insane. We should be way more interested and want to cover the main event way more. It's an inaugural champion in the UFC. It just doesn't feel special. It's probably because the best 125 pounder is probably in the UFC already, as in probably Valentina Shevchenko if she moves down, or somebody else. So that's probably why we're not that interested in it. But we really should be. There was some decent fights in the card.
The fight that I loved was Ryan James taking on Andrew Sanchez.
Yeah.
Sanchez came out and literally used James as a punch bag for the first round. And I put up a GIF, great GIF, I was proud of it, of a giraffe just going, with his chin up. James was coming in, like fighting like this. But like, it was the classic, that's what I done. It was like, remember Homer, what was he called? Box cart Homer or something? Remember he was boxing? Yeah. And like, Sanchez literally boxed himself out and he was dead on his feet, and Ryan James came back and got the victory. It was absolutely
Sugar Sean
madness.
O'Malley though, that was probably my favourite fight in the card. It's one of the only fights I watched. I watched a couple of them, but Sugar Sean, he's a very, very interesting guy, and he kind of has that star power that you're looking for as well. Very exciting fighter. Good test for him as well. He didn't just win very early. He got some rounds in there, and I was still impressed with him. I think he looks good. I'll be looking forward to seeing him in the future.
Again, this is another person that they're putting a little bit of heat behind, and he was called the Knockout King, wasn't he? In a course, they put the course on that and went to a decision.
Still a good performance, though. I thought still a good performance, but it's strange that we're not really that interested in the title fight. I don't know where they're going to go from here, what fight they're going to do, but it's just very strange. UFC title fight and nobody cared.
Yep. See as well, I think Bellator was on the same night as well, because that's what I was doing. The pacing was terrible. There was like 20-40 minutes between fights, and they kept showing you all this bullshit in their house with their kids. Just focus on the fights. And before I know I'm going over, the commentator when Brett Johns won, he was like, there was a couple of arm bars in fairness. I don't know what his name is Dan something. I want to say Dan Healness or something like that, so I don't know it. But like when they tapped and it was over, he was like, another armbar!
Oh god.
And you're like, nope, definitely wasn't an armbar. George St. Pierre won't be defending his middleweight title anytime soon after being diagnosed with
I don't have it in front of me.
ulcerative, I don't know what it is, UC we're going to call it. Dana White revealed the news and George St. Pierre confirmed it on his Facebook. I don't know what it is. ULCERATIVE.
Colossus?
No, that's not Colossus, but the first word. I don't know, and well, it's ruling him out anyway, so we're not going to see GSP, so he makes the long-awaited return, and now he's on the sidelines again. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. You know, there was always that doubt that he was going to fight anytime soon anyway. GSP was he didn't come out and say he was going to fight soon. He seemed very undecisive about what he was going to do next, so I'm not surprised he's out, but it's unfortunate he's out with another, I don't know if you call it an injury or
an ailment.
An ailment, you'd probably go with, yeah. That's unfortunate. Hopefully he gets well soon. I'd love to see him back in there because I was very impressed with him. You know, it's a tough thing coming back after 4 or 5 years, whatever he was out and winning a world title against a really tough guy. So it's unfortunate. Robert Whittaker won't get the big money fight.
That's the thing, isn't it? You gotta feel like, don't get me wrong, as much as obviously, you know, Whittaker, GSP's health is a priority as well. Yeah. Like, but you got to feel like, as in Whittaker must be going, oh my God, GSP just won. This is going to be the biggest payday in my career.
I wonder if he ever felt he was going to get that fight though. You know?
I'm just trying to read. So his immediate future was already in question following a neck injury that he had. And then,
which he said on the MMA Hour.
And my health is my number one priority. I'm happy, thanks for the support. Yeah, so he's going to be out a while anyway. So again, be interesting. Will he come back?
What will they do with the title though? Will they just strip him of the title and allow Robert Whittaker to kind of be the actual champion? Possibly. It makes sense.
The disease causes long-lasting inflammation and sores to the digestive tract and can lead to life-threatening complications. That just doesn't sound nice.
Fun at all.
It's an inflammatory bowel disease.
Yeah. Ouch.
Innermost lining of the large intestine and rectum.
God.
GSP's going to be getting the baby wipes in just for that soft silk clean. We're going down the Dorman path here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Bama on Monday announced that their deal with ITV to broadcast live on ITV 4. The partnership starts with Bama 33. Scope against Lebut on December 15. The card also features Geordie Shores, Aaron Chalmers, who was fighting another man making his professional debut. It's not on Unilad.
Yeah.
So you'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a good deal for Bama though, isn't it? ITV, one of the biggest stations in the if you're watching from the States or something, one of the biggest. It's true, but it's still one of the biggest networks. You know, it's available in
well, you can get
a lot.
If you have a Skybox, you put in that code, you Google
Exactly.
the
Yeah,
code,
it's available
channels.
in a lot of homes, a lot more than a lot of other stations that MMA has been on. So it's a good platform. I just hope that
you'll get a stream of it. If you can't get it, you
yeah,
get a stream.
Yeah, I just hope. I don't know. It seems like Bama, the way they've handled their live television over the last while, like I think they were on Dave. They were on Channel 5, I believe, and there was something about like they show like 3 fights on the main card, and then they might show another fight that happened previously.
I think that's well, in fairness, I think that's the TVs. Like,
yeah,
I know.
I know.
You're not gonna get a mainstay channel. Like, as in, don't get me wrong, Dave it's Dave. Like, it's grand. You know what I mean? I watched Lethal Weapon 2 on it the other night. It was great.
Dave, it's grand.
But
I think I made Dave.
No, it's all right, Dave. But like, you know, a channel like ITV ain't gonna commit to like a 3 or 4 hour mixed martial
I'm not even.
arts show.
Yeah, I'm not even.
So they
saying
want to
that.
see your top 3 fights, and
Yeah.
sure, here if there's a big highlight reel earlier in the night, gives a look at that as well. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I think it is. It's a great man.
It's a great
I tell
deal.
you, it's great for fighters, like, because you know. I know the world has changed and evolved where a lot of people watch television through their computers, be it streaming through Netflix or using the likes of Tyrium TV or whatever they use, Redbox TV, whatever you use to watch your TV.
Or some legal subscription.
But this is the thing, is that people use Netflix and Hulu or TV and all that. So you know, it's changed. So it was good for them to be on the likes of Unilad, but Unilad couldn't support it. It wasn't working for them.
No.
And that's not Bama's fault. Technically, they signed a deal. Well, it is because they let it go through. But do you know what I mean? Unilad couldn't do it. So now UTV, they're a TV company, they're a broadcasting company. They know what they're going to do. So expect the TV rights to be excellent.
When we had John
and it's
Gooden,
great as a fighter. Like, you as a fighter going, hey, do you want to sponsor me? I'm going to be on Unilad. So you're basically on Facebook, mate. Yeah. Well, now you're going, I'm on the telly.
On telly, yeah.
And that's how it holds more water.
Yeah. Moving on.
I'm getting very passionate about the quick fire news, haven't I?
Yeah.
Conor Max back and forth.
That's all we wrote down.
That's all Rob.
You know what happened.
So basically what happened there, Max Holloway,
I'm going to give you a count.
Spoiler alert, won at the weekend. And sort of, you know,
we'll talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
later on.
Yeah, but basically Conor put up this wonderful picture where it was Max Holloway sitting.
It was quite funny,
and he was sitting in a wheelchair with his face all damaged and, you know, smiling for the picture. And it just said, I missed these sunglasses or something, wasn't it? And you're sort of looking and going, what? And it's only when you look at it in the far, far distance, not small, far away, is Conor McGregor just looking down with the glasses on. And then Max Holloway came back with a picture of saying, yeah, you would miss 2015.
Retired
fighters love
the past.
The past.
Yeah, which was decent.
Great comeback from Max Holloway. And look, I've said it for a long time. If I was Bernard Shelby, it's a running joke. If I was Sean Shelby,
Sugar
Sean Shelby, that's the fight I'd love to see. But now I would like to see Max Holloway. You know, Max Holloway's going to clear out that division now. You know what I mean? He only has to beat Frankie Edgar now, and that's that division sort of done. Like, realistically, like, I know we have Brian Ortega, could be a future one coming up up the way.
If Brian beats
Cub. But like, I just think it's a great fight, and like the two of them back and forth, that shows that already the promotion for it could be amazing. Like, can you imagine Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor in Hawaii?
Man, that'd be amazing. Like, and two guys who are
I tell you,
two guys who are in their prime as well. Like, I'm not saying Aldo wasn't in his prime when he fought both Holloway and McGregor, but maybe he was slightly coming to the end of his prime, like in terms of fighting years. Maybe not age, because he's not actually that old. Yeah. But Conor and Max, when they fought first,
they were young pups.
Neither of them were neither of them were in their prime. But this time they would be. Yeah. And you have everything. You have the storyline. You have two phenomenal fighters. You have everything in that fight.
I'd say the owners of the credit union are going to make that fight in Hawaii. Can you imagine the credit union when that fight gets announced? Oh, I want to go to Hawaii. But no, there's the storyline is there, and I think it's deadly.
It makes complete sense. It makes complete sense, and I think Holloway will eventually move up to lightweight. But who knows what the future holds for Mr. McGregor right now?
Indeed, Robert. Indeed. Let's move it on and let's talk about Max Holloway and more as we recap UFC 218 with the great. The mic is up already. We're going to get on Brendan Dorman, and we're going to recap it's a crazy fun night that was UFC 218. So don't put the kettle on, because it just goes when we come straight back. Like, have you not listened before? So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see, and if you're listening on audio, sure, I'm about to tell you, we're joined by, we're not saying he's the best, we're just saying there's nobody better, Mr. Brendan Dorman. Welcome back, my man.
Good to be back. Let's do this.
Goes with the you saying. UFC 218 on paper was an incredible looking card. Did it deliver?
Yes.
You bet. Yeah, incredible. And no marquee fighters, really. Not like pop culture crossover fighters.
Yeah, I think
almost every fight.
Yeah. I thought it was a real one for the purists as well, like the real MMA fans. It really get behind a lot of these fights. It was super. Yeah. Let's start from the top, because I want it. It was for the featherweight title. It was Max Holloway taking on Jose Aldo. I believe we all went Holloway on this one, because we all know what we're talking about. But Brendan, what did you think of the fight? Play it out to me. What do you think, my man?
I think it's wonderful when I call like 4 fights exactly as they go. Third round TKO.
Not to brag or anything.
But honestly, that conclusion I came to via our discussion. It's fun when you can pick each other's brains a little bit, because I always look at it just from technique. Really, emotionally sometimes I'll put that in there, but Holloway, like when you said, Noel, you said, I point this way, and I know on the screen it looks like I'm pointing at Rob, but Noel, you had said like Max was kind of feeling him out, right? Yeah. Like in the last fight, the first few rounds, it's like he was just in there like whatever. Yeah. And you were saying no one likes to get hit. You were saying. I'm gonna stop pointing. So fucking ridiculous. But you're saying no one likes to get hit, and all that seemed kind of true in a way, but it ended up being like he did the same shit again. Yeah. What he's so good at that I noticed though is he's not really taking the punches. Yeah. He does these like mini slips. So when someone throws like an overhand right, he'll like mini turn it. You know, it's not. He doesn't block much, and he doesn't like evade and duck under. It's all like mini, like going, like they say, rolling with the punches. Yeah. He's literally doing that in an MMA context. Pretty fascinating. He's a savage, man.
He's amazing.
He's so fucking good. He's so good.
One thing he done, and Joe Rogan called out in commentary, was at the end of the first round, he turned to the commentators and said, he's tired, he's done. He's tired, he's done. Which is incredible considering who Jose Aldo is. Like, to turn around to the commentators in the middle of that arena, in the middle of a fight where anything can happen, and say, he's done. It's over. And Max Holloway isn't the type of guy like Conor, who Conor will put his ass on the line and say, he's done, but knowing there's a possibility I'm gone. I don't get to read that Max Holloway is that type of guy. He's not that ultra confident guy who, I wouldn't call it fake confidence, but you know where Conor projects that confidence, just completely projects it no matter the situation. Where Max Holloway, I feel, he's confident because he really, really believes in his skills, and in that moment I think he really felt, I have this guy, it's done, I have this guy.
That's well said.
Do you know what it reminded me of is I covered a lot of toy shows, announced my toy shows over here.
The late, was it?
The late. But now I do a lot of my toy shows, and you look at a real like high level my toy show. The first round is like a little drum, a ba-bum, ba-bum, bum-bum. And then the second round would be ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. And then the third round, and that's what the culture. Yeah, and that's what Max Holloway sort of does. He was coming into the fight, he was landing. He's just getting everything, he's reading. And then all of a sudden, as when he said Jose is starting to tire, Max Holloway's output starts to increase. But what I loved about what Max Holloway, maybe Brendan, you might have to give this a better perspective than I'm going to. When he was landing and throwing combinations on Aldo, he wouldn't admire his work. He would change angle and do the same thing again and move, and wasn't giving Aldo a chance to breathe. So when it was almost like he had a timer in his head. When it got to like the halfway point of round 2, he said, right, now it's time to turn the volume up. And that's what he done. He increased his output. He was picking shots off, landing heavily. Aldo was doing well with the leg kick and was hurting Max with the leg kick, but went away from it. I'll let you claim that, Rob, because you definitely spotted that. But in the third round, when he was on him, when he had him up against the cage, you could see that Aldo was almost in frustration, was winging shots just to almost say, get off me, let me breathe. It was like it was like Holloway dragged him underwater and was slowly drowning him. Yeah. And that's what happened where it made Aldo wanted to rush to try and get a takedown or two.
Yeah, shooting for takedowns.
And it was basically Max Holloway broke Jose Aldo, or as I believe Noel O'Keefe on last week's podcast said, dismantled Jose Aldo. But that's what he done. He slowly started at like a jogger's pace and brought the fight into a full sprint in the third round. Yeah. And by the time the full sprint was happening, Jose Aldo was done. And he just couldn't live with the speed, the ferocity, the precision, the precise precision, and just...
I'm so precise with his precision.
It's really precise.
You mentioned, Rob, about confidence. To me, Max Holloway, now that he is champion, he has the ultimate confidence. When he steps into that cage, he is the motherfucker, and you are the one who's getting fucked.
He's the motherfucker,
He is a motherfucker, huh?
Yeah.
So... All right, so you want my technical take on that?
Yeah, but am I right? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. I'm not going to correct you. Just some things I observed that are separate. One of the things Holloway does so well is his pressure isn't like most. He doesn't charge. No. He doesn't even threaten takedowns, really. He knows to stay long, but he keeps his body kind of shoulders square as he's approaching, and then he'll do drastic blading, and he's also like switching stances amidst combos, and he'll always drift off the center line. You'll notice like Aldo landed those leg kicks, which was great, but he landed them in the center line. Like he wasn't breaking as much as he used to. Like when he throw the left hook, he'd slap off that and step drastically out of the camera, and this is now my leg kick, the hand that you can barely see, right? So you can't stay within the center line for someone that's such a great straight puncher like Max, you know? What he does is, like when he switches, like shifting, you know what I mean when I say shifting, of course. It's not like TJ Dillashaw. It's nothing like Dominic Cruz because he's moving forward, but he does it off of like hooks. So he'll like throw a left straight, and in the middle of that, as his right foot stepping forward, throw a right hook that now becomes his lead, and then he's chasing you down with hooks and straights. His angles are interesting. Yeah. His striking is interesting. It's different. He's doing some different things. They're not out of any like textbook, but to reference Roy Jones in a couple of ways that I'm not going to go into for fans that know him. Have you ever heard of this guy?
We may have mentioned this earlier.
Oh shit! I just realized I bring him up so much. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Why don't you marry him?
But it was all about like
get off his dick, Dorman.
I fucking lost my thread. I'm so lost in my stupidity. But with Roy Jones, what was I saying about the angles? His
angles are different.
Like the whole, yeah. Oh, right. Okay. About Roy Jones, they used to always say how he wasn't textbook. Thank you, but Jesus Christ, that was embarrassing. So he didn't do anything out of the textbook, but eventually, when he like won the belt and when he beat Hopkins or Tony, they're like, he doesn't need to. He'll write his own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes you got to look at a guy like Holloway and go, he may not throw the most perfect 1-2 like with this. It's not, his striking's not like that, but you cannot argue its efficacy, right? I mean, it's almost impossible to. So he's a savage, man. And the whole not feeling pain thing, the only thing he even reacted to was the leg kicks, which is kind of impossible not to. It's very Charlie Horse-ish, you know? Amazing.
A comparison I made a few weeks back, and I don't think you agree with me, but I'm sticking to the comparison of Demetrius Johnson and Max Holloway. I think we were talking about who's the closest fighter to, and I don't mean by the way they fight. I just mean the fact that they're probably not the best in every position, but just as a fighter, they're amazing. They put things together.
Totally disagree.
DJ's the best in every position.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, I don't think if he's going to go into a boxing fight and he's going to be able to fight a boxer straight up.
Anyone in MMA at 125 that boxes, though, he would. That's my point. Yeah. In a Muay Thai contest, in a jiu-jitsu match, like he'd beat any MMA fight. Like no one can cross over to other sports really. We saw it with Conor, who has the best hands in MMA. I mean, yes, it was Floyd, but it was an aging Floyd. Yes, he landed a punch or two that were significant.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
My point is not skill wise. Yeah, I mean, and at the type of MMA fighters they're different. They're not. It's like you're watching a different type of guy when you're watching Max Holloway and Demetrius Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you're going with this comparison. You're really selling this one down the road. You're really pushing it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you have a bit of passion.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, brother. You're saying that he's not like, he doesn't have world-class one thing. That he's a complete mixed martial artist, right?
If he was a video game, his all his stats would be like 80 rather than like 96, 1, 71.
Yeah,
because he does have submissions. He can take you down. He has good takedown defense.
Yeah,
but DJ's just he's otherworldly. Yeah, it's hard to compare anyone to him right now. You know. Maybe Dillashaw, right?
Yeah, incredible performance, Max Holloway. Realistically, he's 1-2 fights away from clearing out the division. What I liked about what he said as well is, though, they talked about Jose was considered by many the best, and he said, "No, I have a lot to go before I get there," which I really like.
One thing I also hope before we move on to the next one, I hope they pay him a shit ton of money to keep him the way he is right now, because it would be a shame. He's one of the kind of I feel like he's like an old school guy who wants to clean out that division. He wants to stay in the division. He wants to be he wants to be the sporting kind, kind of Demetrius Johnson like. But if you don't pay him enough money, eventually he's gonna just get the mindset of, I need to go and fight these guys.
Get it to Hawaii. That's what it'd be huge. Let's go on.
Such an original too. Like name another guy. He's like personality wise and everything. He's like humble in his arrogance. It's wonderful.
It's weird. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
He seems cool. I'd love to hang out with him.
Yeah, I like his steel. He's
hilarious. But the humility. In the ring, I like that. I like you need that, right? Especially at that level. So his confidence doesn't bother me. You could call it cockiness. But afterwards, he's like Mr. Humble Pie, no matter what.
I loved watching the embedded season.
For him to hat tip Aldo the way that he did, that was super classic.
His son was hilarious as well.
Yeah,
his son dabbing bar.
Dabbing everywhere.
Dude, his son rules.
Yeah, man.
Great name, man.
Stole the show.
Co-main event. Nothing really standout happened in it. You got to question Alistair Overeem's chin. He just can't take a shot anymore. Holy Lamb of God. Francis Ngannou. What the living.
Like, please be lying.
Oh my God. Like, I am watching this fight thinking, like, mate, I said it to you earlier, Rob. Remember somebody made like a meme or a gif, whatever you want to call it, of Fedor when he knocked Brett Rogers and someone threw that the head fell off. Like, to me, have you ever seen the movie Snatch with Brad Pitt?
Mm-hmm.
Where he plays
in parts. I didn't see it all the way through.
Yeah, he plays the traveler. But there's a part where he gets an uppercut and he gets lifted up in the air. And he's flying through the air and he lands.
It's pretty much that,
It's like Alistair Overeem was knocked into the shadow realm. There's no ifs. Oh my fucking God.
Like, Mike Tyson, Marvis Frazier, Joe Frazier's kid.
Like Rogan and commentary was going, Jupiter. Alistair Overeem is still out. His toes are curled and that broadcast weren't showing it. And it got to a stage where you're looking going, is Alistair Overeem okay?
Yeah, Joe, this is getting uncomfortable. This is getting uncomfortable.
But opening a fight, I like that. Overeem surprised me that he came out so aggressive.
Go ahead. I'll come in there.
He came it looked like Ngannou was coming out to touch gloves or whatever, but Alistair Overeem came out and sort of sprinted at him with a big overhand. And I think that was just to try and close the distance, get him up against the cage and try wrestling Ngannou a little, make him tired. But Ngannou showed incredible strength and footwork to get up and away from the cage. And as I wonder, I don't know where I seen this, if some shitty YouTube breakdown, as Alistair was doing that, he nearly got caught with a shot coming in. I wonder what breakdown that was. But Ngannou then, when he created this, that finish, like that finish, that's going to be, like, if they do a new opening credit, that's going to be on it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That is
all over
like,
it, yeah.
I don't give a shit, like, as in, I was joking, obviously, saying Overeem's chin is gone. That could be Alistair Overeem. It could be Junior Dos Santos. It could be Cain Velasquez. It could be Brock Lesnar. It could be Stipe Miocic. And they could all be standing one after the other. And
how about a hippopotamus?
Yeah, and they're all getting knocked out by that.
Yeah.
It's just...
His head literally bounced. His head went like this.
He's a super nice guy.
That's the single most terrifying punch ever thrown in that.
Yeah. And it was funny because...
Period, end of story...
But the funny thing about it, Brendan, as well, there was loads of people going on about, he had just smashed the
record
for the biggest power shot ever, and people were going, oh yeah, but who's hit this bag? You know what I mean? Like, who's hit it? And then he turns Alistair Overeem into a Pez machine. It was just Jesus. I had to lie down after it. It was just. I'm still looking at it going, how is Overeem up and walking after that?
Mm-hmm.
It was just... But the setup as well, Brendan, I want to do this. He didn't just wing a like shovel hook from nowhere. It was set up. It was movement.
Yeah.
Go.
Did you see? I think I tweeted it and then I did that little mini breakdown that you were saying.
Yeah, some shitty thing. I don't know what it was on YouTube. I don't know what it was. I don't know.
It's not on YouTube, dummy.
It was on Instagram, I believe.
Yeah,
Facebook,
I only did. It's just not. It's only there.
Yeah,
because it was only a minute long. I'm not gonna. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't want to waste people's time like that. But it's on Instagram. Check it out. It's my name. It's real crazy. So it starts off. Overeem, I think, wanted to land because he switched stance into like this really tricky overhand left. That's how he knocked out or hit somebody like that really flush. That's a thing that he does, but he sprinted to it to start the fight. And Ngannou was like, come.
Yeah.
Tried to shovel hook him, throw an overhand right, but then he like kind of pulled it because he saw Overeem was already moving away. Moves forward in the clinch, tries to clinch up, spins into like a short left, kind of missed. I'm like, this isn't gonna end well. Yeah. He was so not caught up in the moment at all. He was calm as a cucumber, and then he just explodes with ferocity. And what happened is Alistair's so cerebral and such a vet, he was trying to just be angular and savvy and tricky in that sense. He's not as fast, and he's certainly not as powerful at this point in his career. I don't think he was ever as fast. And he tried to do this kind of pivoting thing where he ended up southpaw to throw another, but it was a right hand this time, like a kind of a winged one, which he tried to pull. But if you see, Ngannou was going to counter strike that, saw it. The way that he pulled and went to his left, then he slaps like a slap hook to the shoulder, to the right shoulder, punches the right shoulder to then load up his left hand. And that's why what I call it punching to path. At the highest level, you'll see this a lot, where you'll kind of if someone's blocking here sometimes, you kind of want to uppercut into your hook because it'll change their guard. Or Bernard Hopkins used to do it off the jab. He would jab to angle out to hit something else, punch someone in the chest to then turn them, opening up the right hand. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm explaining it?
Yes.
So with that right hand right before, not only is he pushing Alistair's now head is going to be, because it's right here off his shoulder, in center line, he's also loading up with the pendulum effect. Now you got a coil and that left uppercut from Satan's lair. Yeah. It was beautiful, but the mini slip that was really unnecessary in hindsight. The speed at which he just slipped. I mean, he's 265.
Yeah,
it's not a 145er. He moves literally a 150-pound man.
Yeah.
Who's beating him?
There was people behind Alistair Overeem from row 1 to 17 who got pushed over by the wind of the punch.
The G-force.
Never mind the actual punch. Yeah. But
Street Fighter.
Yeah.
It's the dragon punch.
But then he gets on the mic and he's the nicest guy in the world. Yeah, and he's about to go, and Francis Ngannou, he asks, "Can I have the microphone, please?"
Yeah.
Fuck slavery. Yeah. You know what I mean? What? Where'd that come from? Yeah. And he's like, fuck racism.
Did anyone catch what he was saying? I understood him.
Yeah,
what? He was talking about how Libya, since someone that was almost president in my country, thank God she's not, she dismantled that country, and now it's become a slave state since. Remember the whole we came, we saw, he died?
Yeah. That was a crazy
evil person. Doesn't matter if she's a woman. It's just an evil person. But what they did to Libya, that's what he was bringing up.
Yeah.
So kudos to him. I wish his English was a tad better so everyone understood, because he's on a world stage and he was trying to tell the world, hey, guys. But he was doing it in a nice way. It was funky. I get it. And I put up a funny gif of, Rogan. It was someone else. I think it was Cat Williams. Scared holding a mic, because he's got both hands on the mic. His hands are, each one's this big. I was like, Joe does not want to be holding that microphone right now at all. It was amazing. That dude is special, man.
Next.
Yeah, if they make Stipe versus Francis Ngannou, is that probably the best heavyweight fight in forever?
Ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because never have you felt like the challenger is the champ already like you do now.
Well,
he's going to be, in other words, he's going to be favored. Stipe's been murking everyone. Yeah. So we're not talking about a non-dominant champ.
Yeah, but the thing I'd say is Stipe has been wobbled in the past as well. He's taken some big... But I just think, if Ngannou lands on you, what happens to Alistair Overeem happens to you.
It's like I was saying pre-fight. He just has to touch you.
Yeah.
He never ends up doing that. He ends up landing something flush that's 1,000 miles an hour, like a baseball bat. No, forget a baseball bat. It's like a missile. You know,
he's like when Bruce Banner turns into the Incredible Hulk, like, and he just absolutely reigns. It's fucking scary, man.
He's a nice guy.
He seems like a super nice guy.
Yeah,
but like he's only doing mixed martial arts for 4 years. Yeah. So like his coaching and everything that is there is just, and it's for the fundamentals he's had.
Yeah, exactly. And what's brilliant as well, he's not just a big puncher. He's technical. He's not just a guy like Derek Lewis who will hit you and you'll crumble. He's a guy with more power, but also a lot more technique, which is
the biggest problem I think Francis Ngannou is going to have now is to get somebody to sign a contract against him. That's going to be difficult.
Jesus,
who was going to write their name on the same piece of paper as Francis Ngannou?
They'd have to bring like I don't know if he'd do it, but just can you imagine if he beats Stipe and they do sign Brock? Can you imagine the numbers? I mean,
come here, Brock.
I can pick a winner already, but I'm just saying.
It's absolutely.
And it'd be fucking amazing.
But this guy he's going to be an absolute rock star for
I don't
UFC.
know who in the history of the heavyweight division. Here's the thing.
That's what I was going to say when you asked is it the best fight? Is the best heavyweight fight? I said, well, you look back through the whole mixed martial arts heavyweights.
Well, Pro Cop Fedor was huge.
Yeah, but no, of course. What I'm saying from my argument here is, you take every heavyweight fighter in their prime. Who would beat that guy?
I don't know. Anybody does.
Yeah. No one.
Yeah. I don't think anybody
There's
does.
no heavyweight in the history of the heavyweight division in any martial arts organization in their prime that I would pick over him right now.
Yeah.
No way.
The Francis Ngannou of right now against the them of ever.
Yeah.
I'm picking Ngannou. I'm serious.
I know. I do. I agree, yeah. And I'm just delighted
that my main man, too, if you talk to him.
You know what's crazy as well? Like, Cain Velasquez. Imagine how undersized Cain Velasquez would look against Francis Ngannou.
But I'm
not saying he can't beat him. I don't think he does. But
I know we're all incredibly impressed by the knockout. But if you look at the work he done, like Alistair Overeem, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's no joke, man.
K1 fighter, his clinch is strong. You know what I mean? He's that's where he's finished a lot of his fights, is in the clinch.
Yeah.
And Ngannou just brushed him off when they were up against the cage. He's like, no, I don't want to be here. Excuse me, let's move. Strong. It's incredible. Scary.
I do like Alistair, and we have mutual friends, and I'm going to continue to say that on purpose. The reason not on that much purpose. The point being, he's not always Mr. Gracious post loss.
Yeah,
as we know,
he was,
especially after the knockout. After that one, he's just like, that uppercut was. I think he called it the uppercut from hell or something, right? And he was like hat tip, which was like, that's telling.
Yeah,
man. I mean, do you mature that much in 4 months, or were you just like, that guy isn't on my radar again? You know what I mean?
What do you call it, Brendan? Was that a shovel hook or an uppercut?
That's a shovel hook.
Yeah.
It's a shovel hook.
Yeah, because there's people. I know. I thought it was a shovel hook as well. But
straight.
Yeah,
it's straight, and it was at an angle.
Yeah.
A shovel hook is the in between hook and uppercut.
Yeah.
Here's your uppercut.
Yeah.
Straight. Here's your hook. It's in between the two.
Incredible.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I know. That's what I was calling it. That's what I thought it was. But then a lot of people, I know you were saying uppercut there.
A lot of people are stupid.
I was like, was he saying uppercut?
I couldn't sleep after. Like, genuinely could not sleep after. I was that amped.
Alistair Overeem good.
Holy Alistair Overeem got a good solid kip in. Yeah, and Alistair saying he's all right. He's no injuries, and he's gone back to the drawing board. Do you want to go back to that drawing board? That name Francis Ngannou is going to be on it? I don't know. Holy shit.
Sometimes those knockouts though aren't as bad because there's no accumulation.
Yeah,
he just shut them off.
Yeah, that's literally what he done. It was like,
although
somebody
ran
up,
there was also that
fucking
fucking punch in the end as well.
Yeah,
he was out when he hit the floor.
I don't know how much he put on that, but still look good.
That's possibly 3 impacts: the punch, the head smacking against the canvas, and then the last punch.
Hammer fist from like 8 feet in the air.
Yeah, I don't think it was Dan Henderson level of throwing the elbow and forearm down, but it was.
It didn't, because it didn't have the ferocity of the punch.
Yeah, but it's also a 265-pound joint.
Understood. So. It's more devastating, but it's almost like he pulled it a little bit. Yeah. And the second one, he was just like, you gotta remember, he's 4 years into this.
Yeah.
He's not used to pulling his punches. He's used to kill. Jesus, and then once the ref grabbed him, he's like,
Yeah,
he's actually terrifying.
He wasn't fighting the ref. He wasn't angry. No. You know what I mean? It just is what it is.
He's a nice guy.
I didn't feel like it was dirty. In other words.
Yeah. Henry Cejudo beat
hard to move on, right?
Time to move on. Yeah, Henry Cejudo got the victory over Sergio Pettis. And Rob, you sort of called this. You said Sergio Pettis has a habit of fighting off his back, and against an Olympic wrestler, there's
like if you're in Sergio's corner, I'm sure Duke you just be frustrated, and I know
Duke was screaming for kicks. Wasn't he?
I know Henry is an incredible wrestler, but you just feel like you need to do everything in your power to get back on your feet. Just everything you can. And maybe he was, it just didn't look like it in the moment.
But at the same time, last week when we said this, we all sort of said Cejudo here, his wrestling is going to be just like it's at the highest caliber of wrestling he can be. The guy is a gold medalist in the Olympics, for God's sake. But our silver lining here is Sergio Pettis is only a young fighter.
Yeah.
So he's going to learn from that,
and
he's going to go away from it. But watching the fight, Brendan, what did you like? Because you could hear Duke Rufus as you always do when Duke is cornering. You can hear him loud and clear when he's fighting instructions. But what did you think of the fight yourself?
Well, while we're on Duke, between the second and third rounds, you usually don't hear that. So there was like, come on, kid. Like, you got to get it now or never. Yeah. Duke's so focused and so experienced that he's usually like, I don't know. It's very precise direction. Matt Hume's like that.
Yeah.
They don't really get fired up. Greg Jackson kind of does sometimes. Some guys do once in a while. Some guys do way too much, but that, you did head movement last week.
Head movement?
So anyway.
No, but just the reason I was saying, I don't actually mean that he was losing it. I just mean Duke Rufus has got such a unique sounding voice that you hear it on the podcast.
You can hear him because his voice booms, but it's calculated. Yeah. What I'm the one saying that in between second and third round, he usually won't say something like that. Like, you got to get it done, kid.
Yeah.
This is the round or it's over. You lost.
Yeah.
Like, he's usually that, because that's the kind of thing that's, like, as a coach, really tough to say to a student, a fighter, Like, you're losing. It's tough to say that. Like, you know what I mean? And he looks at those kids, the Pettis is like, he's known Sergio since he was like 11 or something great. It's like a son to him. It's just, it was hard for me to watch because of the secondary friendship thing. So, and I like, Cejudo's a really likable guy, so it wasn't that. It's certainly not personal, really. Not really. He's very talented. I think every time I see any other fight at 125, I go, Jesus, Mighty Mouse is good. And that's really shouldn't be the takeaway. It should be like, for instance, Cejudo, we'll talk technique for a millisecond. He did this unbelievable high C, or like high crotch. I love that word. Grab. And what he did is he picks up a little bit, and then he goes to snap his shoulder down, and then hoists him up all kind of in a fluid motion. As a non-wrestler, you're never going to defend that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could, and I outweigh him by 100 pounds. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
It was just his tech. He's technically sound. It wasn't so much as striking. If it was just a kickboxing match, I think Sergio would have picked him apart a little bit. Yeah. But that threat of the takedown, then it starts opening up things. It was a little frustrating, but it was kind of what everyone expected. It seemed.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't as impressive visually as the last one, as in Henry Cejudo's last one, but it kind of showed us that he's a smart guy. He went in there, he knew what he needed to be done against Sergio. He took him down and he got the job done. So that is a feather in his cap in a certain way. He knew what needed to be done and done it. It's impressive.
Why show things that you may be saving too?
Exactly.
If your bread and butter is wrestling and you think you have a 90% advantage there, which he probably does. Yeah. If you're working on new technique, you're saving that. Maybe for Benavidez, maybe for I don't know. Probably Benavidez, I think.
Yeah. Very impressive.
So
it was impressive. It was smart, impressive in a non-visual impressive way. If it was you can appreciate it was a wrestling masterclass.
Yeah, it didn't help.
Yeah, it really was.
Came before it in terms of fan enjoyment.
Let's talk about that. Yeah. So I believe we all picked the next fight right as well, didn't we? Oh no, that was just me, wasn't it? Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje. This one was an alright fight, I suppose. Had few exchanges. This was absolutely fast, furious, flurries, and it was amazing. I had said in this that if the Eddie Alvarez that beat RDA turns up, that little bit of chaotic madness, but calculated too, and I said I picked Alvarez, and I just felt that he was going to be the smarter in the brawl. As much as it was going to be in a brawl, he was going to be more calculated in the brawl, and it was the body work I think that allowed him. He cut the yoke down by taking away the body he really did. Them shots he was landing to the body
work was brilliant.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah.
Got it finished with a beautiful knee, and it was absolutely pulled Gaethje down to it. Absolutely finished it. Justin Gaethje, we spoke about this as well. Gaethje, we said, you know, his style of fighting will get you so far, but will it get you to the top? And we sort of said that, and like we
all said that.
Yeah, and we, you know, there was at one point like the leg kicks that Gaethje was landing. Alvarez addressed it after it, where he said, "If this was a 5-round fight,
it's unreal."
Yeah, and he said if this was a 5-round fight, I knew I had to finish it in the third here because I wasn't going any further. So, you know, wide open by Eddie Alvarez there, and he had the weirdest of like hematomas on his cheek. It was weird. Someone done a great thing. They put a little white hat and a pipe in him, and he looks like Popeye. Brilliant. I love the internet. But there was at one stage in the fight though, Brendan, where Alvarez went down because of the leg kicks, and Gaethje didn't follow him down. He said, "No, stand back up." I think it was at that point that if Gaethje went down, like he's a Division 1 wrestler.
Yeah,
I think he could have won the fight if he went down. So in hindsight, him looking back, obviously it's easy to say in hindsight when he gets knocked out later on, but should he have followed him down?
I think if I had to be him or be his corner, I think they were seeing how the efficacy with the leg kicks. I mean, they were landing at will. So he just figured, like, have him stand back up on that bad leg. I want to knock him out. He's Mr. I want to entertain the crowd. I mean, they both kind of are, right? Yeah. So if he goes down to the ground and stalemates after doing that, it's like he almost loses his moxie, if you will. I think it was just that. You could be right. Who knows? You know, impossible to say for sure. Fight went as I kind of put. I got 2 private messages, one on Instagram, one on Twitter, where people were like, "You sound like you were picking Alvarez the whole time, and then why'd you pick Gaethje?" And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. It was like one of those. It just felt like he could win or something. I don't know. And Eddie's been kind of up and down. But if I knew that Eddie was showing up, Jesus, because he did all the things I said he needed to do. Yeah. Throw the right, no tell, angle out, lateral movement, etc., etc. Don't get too many of those leg kicks, which, you know, I guess you're going to eat anyway, right? But he fought the exact fight I thought he had to. I said don't even use wrestling exchanges, although he did in spots like you had said, or this side said, he did use it to kind of set other things up, just to level change, you know? He had way better head movement, way better just movement, period, shot selection. All the things I kind of brought up that he needed to do, he did. And he deserved every bit of that win. What a bad motherfucker he was that night. Yeah,
he really lived up to the name, the Underground King.
Isn't this one of the fights though where it makes you feel like making picks is like crazy? Because like,
no, I got it right.
You got it right, but any other way, like that could have went anywhere. Just like if I picked Justin Gaethje in any one of his other fights, he could have lost him because it's so chaotic.
But look, Rob, you picked him in this fight.
I did. I picked him.
Look, just congratulate me and let's move on.
Well done.
Thank
you. There's been a Porsche on it. Calm down.
No. I just like
no, but
give me the keys tonight.
Yeah. What a fight, though.
Incredible fight.
Unbelievable fight.
Tecia Torres got the victory over Michelle Waterson, and we actually all got this one wrong as well, didn't we?
Yeah, it surprised me.
I thought Waterson would maintain the range a lot more than she did, but Tecia Torres
done a great job getting inside and landing good shots.
Excellent. We're absolutely
Although I did call the path correctly.
Yeah.
In every fight, including that one.
That's why we say we're not saying you're the best. We're just saying
that's why I don't like making picks, because I know who wins where. I just don't know which is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because then it like takes away from my analytical skills. I can always tell you who's better where and all of that. But if I make a pick and it's wrong, no one gives a shit if I explained it in the most precise detail perfectly.
See,
if I had said that Ngannou was going to throw that punch that way off of that chain, like, but I was wrong, you know what I mean? Or I picked Alistair at the end. No one cares. It's like. That's why I don't do picks.
That's what I said, but I just didn't say it as well as you said.
Fuck off! I got it right. Let me. Like, you all went with GSP, and he's fucking rolled me into the ground about it, right? I went with Eddie Alvarez, the Underground King, the Underground King. I was
a gentleman about George, you fucker.
Fuck you, Khabib. Shit.
I hope he fights. I hope he fights your boy.
Who's your boy?
Who's my boy?
Oh, you're not a Conor McGregor fan.
Max Holloway, is that here? My boy Max.
Conor McGregor, are you a fan?
Yeah, of course I'm a fan.
Max Holloway fights at 145, so let's go to the 155-pound champion.
Yeah, Edmund Barbosa's gonna knock the shit out of Khabib.
Say Edmund Barbosa.
Really?
Head movement.
Head movement.
Where's my motherfucking shirt?
Yeah, I couldn't get one to fit over your fucking big head.
That's what she said.
Great stuff. Talking about throwing stuff around the cage, Felice Herrick got a lot of blood thrown at her by Courtney Casey.
Weird one, yeah.
She literally got blood and went.
I thought it was weird, though, wasn't it? It was like,
that was
odd. Let's fucking throw down, and then let's not throw down. Let's start jabbing again.
We're cool. Yeah. Fuck you, no. Fuck you.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Head movement.
Head movement.
Every opportunity.
No way we're gonna be serious now.
But what did you think? There was a couple of mad things.
The
darker close fight.
Yeah, that was weird.
And David Teamer.
Herb Dean had a nightmare.
Herb Dean had a
that
Herb Dean must have had some herb.
What I hated about the Dracker one was not only did he warn him, but then it completely changed his game plan. Every time he was moving backwards, he was like, "Oh shit, I need to move forwards because I'm gonna get a point."
Well, like, just because
I've never even seen that warning. Not in that context.
Just because Close was going,
and the way he said it, he said,
"It's up to you to engage the
He
fight."
said, "You're taking too many back steps."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?
Yeah.
When's that a rule?
Yeah,
what the hell?"
Herb Dean has definitely called a Dominic Cruz fight before.
Good point. Yeah. Or Lyoto Machida.
Yeah.
Right, but with Dominic, his hands are literally down at his waist.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's not that either.
Yeah.
It was disingenuous. It was kind of like, dude, what? Herb? Is that you? 'Cause he's normally like, it's like Big John. Rosenthal I used to put way up there, and Herb's right up there with the better guys. But he looked.
It could be just a bad night, though. You know.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say is
grappling is a thankless job.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course. But as well, I found the crowd actually were booing a lot every time they hit the ground. They literally got the ground, boo, straight away. And they all kept going, woo!
Yeah, it also come after his other gaff.
I like the flare woos, but okay.
Yeah, his other one with the.
You sound like a little
bad
girl
stuff.
there. I like the flare woos.
To be honest, I kind of defended him on that stoppage. It was a terrible stoppage, but I understand what he was looking at.
His position,
his position,
slump,
poor positioning. Unfortunately,
he went, Hamza went down.
It looked like he took I think it was a right hook. It looked like a nasty right hook, and then kind of dropped his thing. Yeah, no, yeah.
The fight's been remade.
Yeah.
Did you see that one, Brendan, where Herb called it off? Where, sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the hell fight it was.
It was Hassan against
Al Hassan and Homasi.
Al Hassan and Homasi there.
And it was like, oh right, the guy got clipped, and as soon as he fell, he stopped it.
Yeah. But he sort of went down and was like,
he kind of went for a leg, but you know, maybe it was.
But it was even when Herb stopped it, the two fighters started looking. Like, what's up? You know what I mean? Like the proper, and then like literally, Homasi stood up like going.
The guy that won was like, really? Like, is this all I have to do?
But the proof is in the pudding, the fact that they've rematched the fight. But yeah, a bit of an off night for Herb Dean. He, like you said, he is one of the best. We'll allow it. Standout. I haven't seen this fight, I must say. But I'm gonna watch it later tonight when I go home. But Yancy Medeiros, Alex Oliveira.
Yeah, it's an incredible brawl. It's probably better than Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje. Maybe they're probably neck and neck. Just two tough guys going in there, and not without technique either. Because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's an amazing brawl," but some of the stuff, there was a beautiful trip reversal by Yancy, so he was about to get tripped and reversed, and I think he landed a mount, or it might have been side control, but it was absolutely beautiful, lovely balance to get down there. But definitely watch that one. That was a cracker as well.
Paul Felder, the Irish Dragon.
Big my man. What did I say about him? You guys remember what I said?
Yeah.
Elbows.
Yeah, elbows from hell. Also, remember what I said? Oliveira, front runner.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, we were both right on that one.
Hold on.
But I did say that. No, I said.
Wind it back.
Look at how desperate you are for attention. You're like, hold on. You guys did say that right, but I did.
I picked Eddie Alvarez.
I picked Eddie Alvarez.
You
Tottenham let me
just
down
let
the
us
weekend.
have our shine.
Yeah.
No, he did. In fairness,
he's a typical front runner. You know, he's incredible in the first round, especially if he gets his way. He's incredible. If he doesn't get a finish.
A guy in work here, Carl O'Connell, says to me on lunch, he says he was watching the Paul Felder fight, and he said them elbows, that's the hardest shot I've ever seen in the UFC.
Oh my god.
And then he said Ngannou came out, and I was like, yeah, well done, Paul. You lasted like 2 hours like with that record. But big winners.
Paul did some really nice defensive jiu-jitsu too. I was really impressed because I had mentioned that as well. You know what I was trying to say when I was saying like his quote he said years ago when he started training with Daniel Gracie was like, learning how to stand back up. But what I was really saying is he always works defensive jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going for a submission. He wants to elbow your face off. And Duke actually, from afar, helped me kind of refine my elbow technique before I could actually afford to train with, like, Phil Nurse, you know? Because, like, a lot of people do it wrong, where it's like a relaxed hand and a flick. Like, it's all kind of body weight, shoulder, hip. It has nothing to do with your hand. Your hand should be,
Nice.
like, totally, like, limp. Like, Noel, like how you walk around with your hand? Limp?
Limp dick.
Yes. Limp wrist.
Oh. I was going somewhere
That's the artist in me, you see, when I've the flair, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody make a gif of that.
But yeah, Felder's a savage, man.
Yeah,
I love watching that guy fight. He's so good. I think he's getting better too, you know, and I think he's pretty young. He's what is he, 30? 29?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
good commentator too.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say that. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and UFC Fight Night Fresno goes down this Saturday, and one of the standout bouts on the card is Aljamain Sterling taking on Marlon Moraes. We're now joined by the 14-2 UFC bantamweight fighter Aljamain Funkmaster Sterling. Aljamain, thanks a million for coming on to obviously Fight Talk.
Thanks for having me, guys. Almost go time.
Originally scheduled to fight Brazilian veteran Honey Yaya fell away from the fight. I believe that was early November. Was there a quick turnaround in opponent, Aljamain, or what played out?
Nah, it took a while for us to get another opponent scheduled and locked in, but you know, the whole top 10 was pretty much booked. But Marlon ended up having a fight with Dotson, and he wasn't too banged up, so you know, it was one of those things. We kind of have similar, like, very friendly coaches that kind of grew up with each other, trained with each other. So we didn't really expect for this fight to happen this soon. But Marlon accepted it. He stepped up, and we got ourselves a possible #1 contender fight.
Is it a fight that you'd prefer not to happen against a guy like Marlon, who you said you have close coaches? Would you prefer to fight somebody else, or is it any fighter really in the top 10?
Honestly, any fight in the top 10. I mean, to me, at this point in my career, I think everyone's the same. We're all going to do the same things. So getting a win over him, or getting a win over Dotson, or getting a win over Rivera, or any of those guys, I think puts me in a great position for 2018.
And no disrespect to Yaya, obviously falling away. Hopefully he's back from injury soon. But this is a bigger opportunity. It's a bigger name, a higher ranked fighter. So in essence, the silver lining of him falling out is a better fight.
Oh, 100%. This is going to be a fight that that's going to actually weigh something. Yeah. I mean, all fights weigh something. You know, if I go out there and lost to Yaya, that would not be good. And yeah, so every fight's important. That was just a stay busy fight, but we got a bigger fight on the table. So I'm gonna bring what I bring to the table. He's gonna find out what he brings to the table, and we're gonna sit down and talk about it.
I know you would have known him through coaches and stuff, but was Marlon somebody you looked at when he was in the WSOF, somebody you looked at as a potential future opponent?
Yeah, definitely. When I was in my free agency period, I didn't realize how possible that matchup was actually, how possible it was that we could actually have that matchup. And here we are today, fast forward a couple years, you know, they come down to train with us a couple of times. Corey Anderson, Mark Henry brings his guys, Ramadan and Zabit came down. I sparred with him one time. And I'm looking at it now. I'm like, good thing I didn't go down there to get that cross training in, because we would have been opponents in a couple of years. So here we are today, and we'll have to just figure it out and just go get after it.
The Dotson fight, double-sided question here. Number one, were you impressed with his performance? And then the second part of it is the advantage for you here, or for maybe Marlon, the fact that he's going camp to camp here, the quick turnaround? Who's that advantage favour?
I don't know. It really depends. I don't know how hard he's going, how much tape he's really watching on me. I don't know what he's really taking away from my fights. I feel like he's a very similar opponent to Renan Barão. The only thing different that he does is probably the footwork with the constant circling to his left. And I got something for that ass. So stay tuned for this one. This Saturday is gonna be fireworks. And the theme of this fight, just like the last one, is push the pace until someone breaks, and that person that's gonna break will be him.
Do you feel like you're still flying a little bit under the radar? You know, your only two losses are to really top guys. But after those 2 losses, I think a lot of people stopped talking about you being in contendership. Do you feel like you're still flying under the radar, even though you come off that big win over Renan Barão?
Yeah, but haters gonna hate. That's what they do, and they want to knock the win over Renan Barão. I think that's a bigger win than the majority of these other guys have done so far in this division. So I know what it is when you step inside that octagon. I know who brings what to the table. I fought a Sun Sao, and I don't think he has anything for me if we would ever get that rematch. The Caraway, I feel the same exact way. I think I beat myself in that fight. And, they always say you win or you learn. I don't really look at those fights as losses. Split decisions, you put another judge in there, and I could be the guy walking away with my hand raised. So that's the way I try to approach these things, not let these things beat me up too much mentally. This game is mental. There's a lot of ups and downs. It's one thing I learned through wrestling in high school and college, and the strongest are the people who can endure the hard times and get through it. And this through the clouds there's always sunshine. So I think this Saturday night, man, it's gonna be either really good or it's gonna be really bad. But one thing I can promise, it will be violent, and it will be a tremendous pace that will be getting pushed in this fight. I'm excited.
We're excited too. Looking at the rankings here, when we knew we had you on here, we said, all right, you ranked 8, let's have a look. And when you look at it, as you were saying, there's no easy fight at a certain time, but the bantamweight division at the moment, just the state of the division in itself is in from 10 upwards, and even from below 10, it's killer's row. So when you're looking at that, is there a path you can see to? I know you'd sort of, when Cody was the champion of the division, you called him out a little bit, you called him a pussy or whatever it was, can't quite remember. But is it that now, the state of the division with TJ now winning the belt, maybe talking about dropping down to fight Mighty Mouse? Is there a certain path in a way that you can take to the title here, or are you just any of these guys above me? I want to take that next step towards number 1.
At this point in my career, man, I just want to fight them all. I really don't care. They're all the same. I really do believe that. Each fight will put me one step closer. I know this fight is a much bigger fight than the fight. So I think this fight is technically a number 1 contender fight between Marlon and I. And I think whoever wins is going to put themselves atop of it. It really depends on the performance. I don't think a Sun Sao is going to get that trilogy rematch right now, even though he did have an impressive win over Matthew Lopez, but he fought an unranked opponent. Jimmy Rivera is fighting Lineker. So I think it's going to be between us. And if they do allow TJ to entertain 125, that will hold the division a little bit. I think he has some work to do in this division first before he goes trying to skip town. So It's gonna be fun, man. This division is stacked. It's more exciting than it's ever been ever since Dominic Cruz came back. I think Cody talked a little too soon, too fast, pumped himself up, and was smelling his own shit and thinking he was the man too soon. I think he finally got a piece of that humble pie. I remember when I lost to Caraway, he was quick to chirp at me and talk shit and say all this stuff about your opponent broke you, and I was just like, if you consider that breaking, then I wonder what the hell was that TJ did to you. But I'm not the type to start kicking a man when he's down. So it is what it is. Eventually our paths will cross as well. And like I said, I want to fight all these guys. I want to prove that I'm the best. I want to prove that I didn't shy away from any challenges. Everybody has their strengths and everybody has their weaknesses. And that's why we fight. That's why we see who's going to show up on game night, game day. And it's not a game when we get in there. That's the difference.
The big, if you're playing matchmaker here as well, you look at Lineker and Rivera fighting as well. Obviously, you've had a little bit of social media back and forth as blew up on Twitter between yourself and Jimmy. So matchmaker, you guys sort of, in so many ways, modern MMA now. You see a lot of matchmaking being made through social media, through you guys having back and forths. But in a perfect world, is it you get the victory, Rivera gets the victory, the winner gets the title shot?
As in the winner,
the two, as in you win this weekend. Jimmy wins on the 30th. The two of you fight to end that beef, and then the winner gets a shot at the belt.
Possibly, we don't know how long Cruz is going to be out right now. So there's a lot of unknowns still. And I think that's the thing that makes everything so exciting. So I'm just waiting to see how everything plays out and shapes up in this division. the first things first, I got to go out there and handle business on Saturday night. If I don't, all these things, they go right out the window and no one gives a shit about Aljamain Sterling again. So I got to keep my name in the headlines, and I got to do it by getting my hand raised. So
what's your opinion, though, as well, Aljamain, on you just mentioned it there with Dominic Cruz coming back. You're seeing a little bit, obviously GSP just came back and got an automatic title shot in a division he never fought in. And then it almost seems like we've got TJ saying he wants to fight Mighty Mouse. You've obviously Conor then went and fought in a different sport. Look, what's your opinion on if Cruz comes back and here you are, you're on a winning streak, you have a few fights, and then Cruz comes back in and gets a number one shot or a title shot? As a fighter, how frustrating is that?
It's very frustrating, but I'll fight his ass before I let that just happen. So, if he needs a Huckleberry to step up before he gets that next shot, I'll be that guy. TJ ready for Cruz. Yeah. So I think they're looking to do new fights. And if anyone who's been paying attention to the way the UFC is working these days, it's a popularity contest, and it's about fresh, new blood coming in and who they think they could build the next star around, or who they think can sell tickets and put on an entertaining fight. And hopefully I throw my name in that cap and in that hat and figure things out.
How do you feel you match up with TJ?
You know what? I think I'm the bigger man. I think my wrestling is a lot more elite than his, and I think that's the main thing. I'm the bigger man. He may have a little bit of a speed advantage just because he's a smaller, lighter fighter, but I get my hands on him over the course of 5 rounds. I think that's a different fight. But honestly, I'm not even really thinking about that right now. I'm thinking Marlon, thinking about those kicks. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna try to smash his ribs in and put my fist in his face.
And what is I know you're not going to give the solid. What is it? Do you see yourself getting a finish here? Is that what you're hunting for? Or, we've been today at judges' scorecards and we can see what happens when it goes to the judges' scorecard. So is that fresh in the mind as well, that you got to get the fight done with inside the distance?
I think so. If I want to really build a case for why those two losses were flukes, and I kind of got the short end of the stick, I think this is my fight to show like I'm here. I'm finally living up to the potential that I should have. That's been eluding me for so long. So I just gotta take it one fight at a time, one day at a time. Make sure I'm mentally ready. It's one thing to be talking about this right now. It's the next thing that when you step in and making that walk to the octagon, everything changes, man. People don't understand this, but you gotta have the best, perfect training camp. If you're not focused for those 15 minutes, good things or bad things can happen in there.
And is that now, Aljamain, you fought many times now in the UFC, but do you still get that nervousness? Is that still there backstage waiting to fight? Are you still pacing around, or are you one of the guys that will sleep backstage, or does the nervousness just have you up and around backstage?
I just like getting loose. It's more like hurry up and wait, and that's really is. It's just a waiting game. When the fight day comes, you just want to get out there and go already. You make weight, you feel good, you're rehydrated, and you just want to throw down, man. And the last 2 fights, especially after that Sunset fight, I was particularly fighting very safe, very smart, and very strategical, but very smart. Just looking for the takedowns, not taking too much damage, and just being a smarter fighter out there and trying to outwit my opponents. And then I realized after the Sunset fight, I really had to change things up and really start mixing it up a little bit and get a little bit more gritty. And I take way more damage in training camps than I do in the actual fights. And it's cool because now I'm starting to show people that, if I really want to stand in there and trade, I can. I can take a punch, I can take a solid hit, and I can dish it out too. So I just got to go out there and fuck this guy up,
Just to leave a landmark, like I'm sure you might have watched him at the weekend, but everybody's talking about the likes of Yancy Medeiros' fight with Charles Oliveira or Justin Gaethje and Eddie Alvarez. There, as much as for the fighter, I suppose the fighters want to go in and get out there without taking damage, but when you're the fight fan, everybody loves seeing the craziness of that.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully it's not that crazy. Hopefully, you know what, Marlon's been hit a couple times and he looks like he gets glassy-eyed and kind of gets a deer in headlights a little bit. The Sunset fight when he got hit with that 1-2 twice in a row at the end of that first round. The fight with Dotson when he got dropped. I don't know, man. I'm thinking, I landed that good shot. I think I'm eating those shots. and he's not. So if it gets to that point where the Max Holloway, Jose Aldo, the end of that third round where they're sitting in the pocket and trading and we want to see who's the tougher man, if he wants to go that route with me, I guarantee I'm going to come out the man on top of that those exchanges. I'm the longer, bigger fighter, longer reach. I'm going to keep him at the end of my punches. I keep him at the end of my kicks, and I'm going to try to put his ass down.
One thing you said, if you said it a couple of times, being the bigger man, I noticed one thing on your Twitter. You were replying to somebody talking about weight cuts, and you said that fighters should be given less time to rehydrate. And you also said that they'd probably be up 1 or 2 more classes. So realistically, if there was less time to hydrate, where do you think you fit? What weight class do you actually sit at?
Possibly 45. I weighed out at 45 today, and I felt okay. You know, my first workout for the day. I got to do one more tonight. This is the lowest my weight's ever been. I don't know what it was. I was stuck around 65, man. I'm not a big 35er in terms of like height and mass. I just retain a lot of water. So it got to a point where I was just getting stuck at the weight, and I'm not big enough for 45. I'm a little small for the weight class in terms of the height and the frame. Yeah. But I am a true 35er. I just know if we had less time to rehydrate, I would have to go up a weight class because you will not want to take that damage and put yourself at risk. And people say, oh, just because it's going to be more people that are getting concussed and getting hurt. I'm like, it's either going to be that or people are going to realize, hey, this is not smart for me to be fighting severely dehydrated if I only have 3 hours to put back fuel in my body. And I think that's the way they got to go. If they really want to eliminate it. With wrestling, I was able to cut down from 53, 55 down to 133 every single week, 20 pounds up and down the entire season, week after week. And it was the most miserable, most frustrating thing I ever had to do. And we only had 1 or 2 hours to rehydrate, depending if it was a dual meet or a tournament. And if it was a tournament, obviously, if you win the first round, you get more time to recover throughout the day, get stronger and stronger. But if you lose that first match because the way you cut weight sucks so bad and your first match is so shitty, then you're out of the tournament. So it's like there's diminishing returns. And now you add in the fact that we're punching each other. I think guys are going to realize I have to go up a weight class if I want to compete, if I'm getting less time to rehydrate. And I think that's just the way you got to go about doing it. If you really want to not you're enabling me to go from 65 to 136 by giving me more time. You're giving me more time to feel better and get bigger. I don't see a lot of sense behind that besides rehydrating, but you're still giving me time to severely dehydrate myself to get down.
Well, you can't see it. Like even the fight at the tough finale was pulled the main event. That's what he was referring to. So it's something that's gone on. You've seen Jose Aldo as well on the scales looked terrible when he didn't make the weight the first time. Yeah. So it's definitely something that has to be looked at. I think weight cutting. Just the nickname, Aljamain Funkmaster. Is it a tip of the hat to Ben Askren?
Yes, it is. Ben Funky Askren, man. I looked up to that guy a lot in college. Watched him all the time. Broke down a lot of his matches, and I stole a lot of his stuff for wrestling, and it helped me get by and develop my skill set and my game in college. And even to this day, I watched a lot of his fights growing up and coming up through the ranks myself. And he's a guy I looked up to in the wrestling world. Huge wrestling name, and one of the best MMA fighters, I think. I wish he just got his shot to fight in the UFC to prove that he was really one of the best welterweights out there, because I truly do believe he really is a special talent for sure.
Do you think that he actually is done? Because he did speak about possibly having a fight with GSP if he was offered something like that. Or do you think maybe it's kind of past now?
It depends. It depends if the UFC Dana's going to give him that shot.
Yeah. I don't know, it seems to be something there, doesn't it? It's almost the same thing. Listen, Aljamain, we appreciate your time today. We wish you the best of skill on Saturday night. We'll be tuning in, and fair play to the man guy in the background flexing. But an absolute pleasure with you, and I can't wait to watch the fight.
There you go. I'm going to go eat my salad.
That looks delicious.
Bon appetit.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Cheers. There, ladies and gentlemen, the Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling. Cracking fight this weekend. Yeah. It's Moraes.
The naked guy in the background.
Yeah. We almost get that. We had that with Brad Pickett, remember, back in the day as well. Yeah. But that is one of the standout fights. We're going to be talking about that card a little later on in the show as well. But yeah, he seemed relaxed and chill, didn't he, for a guy?
Very, 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 very relaxed. And it seems like, according to him, he does cut a decent amount of weight, so I'm sure that's irking him a little bit. But I can't wait for this fight. I think it's another one of those fights where there's been a pullout, but the resulting fight that's come from that pullout is a better fight.
It's like Gastelum and Anderson.
I think so too, yeah. And even though it was rebooked, the Pettis and Cejudo fight, even though that didn't really turn out the way we hoped it turned out excitement wise, when it got postponed and then got rebooked later down the line, it was a better fight. So sometimes it can be good. You hate the pullouts, but
Yeah. So speaking of that fight card and that fight night,
yeah, we'll take a little ad break and then we'll come back.
Let's talk about it. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and this is UFC Fight Night 123, Swanson versus Ortega, going down in Fresno this Saturday night. We're going to just look at the top 3 fights on the card. We're going to start with Marlon Moraes taking on Aljamain Sterling. We spoke with Aljamain earlier, but Rob, you might be a little... I always find when you interview a fighter, you get a little taken in, but what's your thoughts on the fight?
First point... Just before we start recording this section,
I made a mess.
He goes, Marlon Moraes, jeez, I have that name down.
Moraes,
and then we're on air and he makes an absolute mess of it.
What did I say? Did I say
Marlon Moraes or something he said.
Moraes,
yeah, made a mess of it. I think I said it.
It's because I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I said it earlier in the show. This is a better fight in my opinion than the previous fight that Sterling had in Ronnie Yaya. It's a great fight. Marlon Moraes was one of those guys who, when he wasn't signed with the UFC, everybody wanted him to be signed with the UFC, and he's a really, really good bantamweight. Aljamain Sterling's been with the UFC for a long time. I do think that he's lost a little bit of steam. He's kind of gained it back now, but with those 2 split decision losses, there was at one time people were talking about Aljamain Sterling being the future of this division, and I think that he could be. So I think a lot of people are going to start talking about if he could beat Marlon Moraes.
Obviously, we just thought we seen Marlon fight literally 3-4 weeks ago. So what do we think? Is there a hole in his game that Sterling can take advantage of?
I think, there's a couple of... I think the reach could be a huge thing, because Marlon Moraes, the way he fights, he really likes to get in and out. It's similar to Frankie Edgar. And I think with Aljamain Sterling, who I believe has the biggest reach or the longest reach in that division, if you want to fact check that, you can. No. If not, it's okay. He uses reach pretty well. I thought Sterling turned the corner with his striking in his last fight. I thought it was really impressive against Renan Barão. And Renan Barão fights kind of similar to Marlon Moraes. I think Marlon relies a little bit more on his hands, where Barão likes to kick a lot more, even though Moraes has some great leg kicks. But I think the problem for Moraes will be the range. I think Aljamain Sterling can keep a really good range. Takedowns, I think Aljamain has the advantage there. So I think the big section of this fight where you're gonna pick a winner will be who can really enforce the range. Can Marlon Moraes get on the inside, or can Sterling stay on the outside?
I think a big factor in the fight as well is he's coming off a hard fight against Sean Dodson. He won the fight. I thought it was quite funny. Not funny, use the wrong word. I thought it was quite weird that it was split decision, that 2 judges got a 30-27 for Marlon Moraes, and the other judge got a 30-27 for Dodson. You're like, somebody was napping. But again, it was a 15-minute fight. So I asked Aljamain earlier in the show, I said, is that an advantage for you or for him? And he's like, look, I don't know. Let's see. Sterling thinks he has an advantage everywhere, really. And as we said, the rankings in the bantamweight division there, when you look up and you see it, it really is the who's who. So I think on any given night, any of these guys could beat one another. But I'm going to go with Sterling, and I just think, from talking to him, it could be just because of talking to him, he just sounds ultra confident. He's learned from his errors and his defeats. And he just say, I reckon he's going to mix up his wrestling and really, he's not, as he said, he reckons he can take a shot that Marlon will land, but he doesn't think he can take his shot. So that's an interesting point as well. And you have seen Marlon in the past getting caught looking not out. He
definitely has a good chin. But on with you there, it could be because we spoke to him and sometimes you have that on. But before going into this, when I was doing a little bit of research, I was picking Sterling, mainly just because if you look back at some of Marlon's losses, it's when guys fight really, really smart on the outside, and I think Aljamain Sterling has the ability to do that. I think he can fight really smart on the outside using his range. I think that's going to be a problem. I think maybe he could win 2 out of the 3 rounds, something like that, where, because Moraes, he's a great fighter and he can win rounds, but I think when guys fight really smart against him, and I think that's going to be what Aljamain's going to do. I know he was talking about coming in and wanting to finish. But I think he's going to fight smart, and hopefully the finish comes for his sake. But I think he's going to be able to do it by over decision.
A big thing as well is belief. We talked about earlier with Brendan when we were looking and talking with yourself today as well, Rob, and we were saying, Max Holloway just looks, this ultra confidence of being the champion, and so in a way, a take back from that. Yeah. Sterling beating Renan Barão, former champion, that gotta give you confidence. Gotta win there.
Even though it's a Renan Barão who's not what he was at one time.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's still Renan Barão. It's a former champion, and in some people's eyes, and even in my eyes, one of the best bantamweights of all time, if not the best, right now. So yeah.
Your next bout of the evening, former guest, Jason Knight taking on Gabriel Benitez. Both fighters are coming off defeats, as if my memory serves me right. They're both in the UFC, like to do this. But what do we see here? Jason the Kid Knight against Gabriel Benitez.
Firstly, I'm very excited to see Jason Knight back. Tough fight against Ricardo Lamas. He asked for that fight. Might have been a little bit too quick to take that one. It was a tough fight. I think in this one though, skill wise, he's a little bit underrated. He goes in there and he does brawl a lot, but he's actually, when he wants to be, he can be quite technical, and he's very skilled. And I think he's been in there with the better guys, and he just has that real grit and aggression. Like, it's a lot of guys who just can't deal with that type of aggression that he brings to the table, and I think that's going to be a problem for Benitez.
I agree. Like the Ricardo Lamas one, like it was almost his eagerness, and he wanted to go out in a shield. Like the fight that he had, he just wanted to keep coming back. But you got to give Ricardo Lamas absolutely unbelievable finish by him, and to get a finish on Jason Knight as well. That's a feather in the cap as well, because he's an absolute killer. But I just think Jason Knight has, as you said, Rob, he's fought the better guys, he's beaten the better guys. Like his win over Chad Skelly was absolutely that's just me mimicking Jason Knight. But his victory over Chad Skelly was stunning, a big victory as well, big knockout in the third round. But
Dan Hooker was a good win as well.
I think as well, though, he's going to learn, and he shows like he can win. He can win on the judges' scorecards, he can win by a submission, and he can win via knockout. And I just think he's going to have too much for Gabriel Benitez coming into this one. So I pick Jason Knight, and I pick him to get the finish as well. I think he'll high pressure of violence. That's what he is. He's just a guy who loves fighting. When we spoke to him, I remember when we rang him on Skype, he was sitting there watching the fight back.
Yeah.
Just after he beat Chad Skelly, he was sitting there watching the fight, watching it and commentating as he was chatting away. And I just think he's a guy who loves what he's doing. Like it's a benefit for him, or the plus side. It's not the main factor that he gets paid to be a fighter.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a fighter if it was just a hobby.
Yeah.
But he's the type of guy in there that I'm interested to see what he's going to look like coming back from the defeat against Ricardo Lamas.
Yeah, that's one of the big points as well, coming back from that defeat, because it was a bad knockout loss for him. So it'd be interesting to see how he comes back from that one. But yeah, I'm going to go with Jason Knight as well. I think his aggression, his activities, like extremely active going forward. I remember Benitez fought Andre Fili, and Andre Fili finished him. So I think it's going to be a similar situation. I think Jason Knight's going to be able to get the finish. I'm actually going to say by submission. I think he's going to drop him and finish him by submission.
Your main event sees Cub Swanson taking on Brian Ortega. T-City versus Cub Swanson. This one for me is a great fight.
It's a great fight.
I said it to you. I like, you know what, Rob? I'm going Ortega.
Straight off the bat.
And like a lot of people, when Frankie Edgar fell away from the Max Holloway fight, everyone thought the natural replacement here was going to be Cub Swanson. And I remember thinking at the time, well, that's fucking shit on Ortega, because like this is probably Ortega's, fair to say, this is probably Ortega's biggest fight, biggest name anyway. If he beats Cub Swanson, he's 13-0. He's on a 13. Obviously, if he's 13-0 now, he's obviously on a 13-fight win streak. So what else does he need to do here to get up the rankings? So like, I just think, what I like about Ortega is he can strike, he can hit, he can finish, but when he gets people to the mat, this guy is legit. And I just think he's going to have too much for Cub Swanson. The Cub Swanson has shown great defense and great offense on the mat as well, but I don't know, I just fancy Ortega in this.
Yeah, it's a really weird one. I'm really torn on it, because initially when I seen the fight was announced, and over the last couple of weeks thinking about it, I was siding with Cub Swanson. I just think his striking is a bit more polished. Brian Ortega, he's actually turned into a pretty good striker, but it's really flashy. Like, it's a lot of flashy stuff. He'll throw a lot of like flashy
Cub used to
head.
be guilty of that.
Oh, 100, and he still
guilty,
is.
but
Still is
I mean?
sometimes. But I think Cub over the last few years has got a little bit more technical in his strike. And not that he wasn't technical back then, but I think more so he refused.
He used to try more
looping,
risky shots.
Yeah,
as
risky
well,
shots. I think he's a little smart. With that experience, I'm sure just comes, being a little bit smarter. But then thinking about, looking at Cub's last fight with Artem, not that he struggled, he dominated in the end, but he struggled in the first couple of rounds reading Artem's technique. And that could be similar with Brian Ortega, because Brian Ortega doesn't really throw stuff normally. And then on the ground, it could be really interesting. Max Holloway made work of Cub Swanson on the ground. Brian Ortega, he's the type of guy who gets you on the ground, and doesn't matter if he's on top, doesn't matter if he's on the bottom, he'll pull for something. And I'm just thinking, I'm thinking Brian Ortega wins by something weird on the ground. I think it's going to get to the ground somehow.
Twister.
Even if he pulls guard. Yeah. I think he's going to wrap him up in something, a triangle, something crazy.
Like, if you look at Cub Swanson's last 4 fights he's on a 4-fight win streak, and they've all gone to decision. Now, he's won them all. He's won them all unanimously. So he's won all the fights. He's won them well, but he's not getting finishes. While you then look at Ortega, and Ortega is winning by TKO, KO, submissions.
There's a couple of fights in there though where Brian Ortega, I'm not going to say struggling, but he wasn't looking great until the finish.
Yeah.
He was kind of plodding along, and you kind of knew he needs a finish to get this done.
Yeah.
So you'd have that risk as well, because Cub Swanson.
I'm right in saying that, as Conor was saying, it takes him. Sometimes he feels he has to finish the fight in the third round, because a lot of his
lot come in the third round.
Yeah. So what, Cub Swanson, get it out of there before the third round. Yeah. Don't get the third round. But look, it is, and like again, I'm going with Ortega because, again, he's the young up-and-coming fighter, all this sort of stuff. But it's like when we spoke with Darren Till, it's like, Ortega, this is his coming out party, you know what I mean? As in, it's like when Till beat Cowboy, you know what I mean? A lot of people talk about Ortega and that he's good at this, he's always improving in a strike, and he's legit when it hits the mat. He can pull submissions from anywhere. He's a bit of a slow starter, all these things are just da. And it was for a long time, for his first few fights, it was at Darren Till, he's good, but he's not a finisher, he's not this. And then boom, Cowboy, and all of a sudden Brendan Schaub's his number one fan. He knows everything about him. He knows what he had for breakfast. He done everything. So this is what happens, and this, I think, will be Ortega's coming out party. If he was to finish Cub Swanson,
huge victory, huge victory. He does get hit though. He does get hit,
but like, if you look,
he has a chin on him as well though.
Yeah, like if you look at Ortega, like he's similar age to Max Holloway. He's doing, like, that fight is the fight that down the line. Like I said it earlier as well when we were talking. I said,
so exciting as well.
Holloway is young. I think Holloway turned 26 today, actually.
Yeah.
So two of them are similar age, 26 years of age. So, this is a fight that potentially these could be the 1 and 2 guys.
Yeah.
Max Holloway could be defending his belt against Brian Ortega if he gets if he beats Cub Swanson, right? That means you have Frank Yeager out injured at the moment.
Yeah.
He's just beaten Jose Aldo. You know what I mean? Who's next for Holloway? So
it's mad,
big victory here for T-City, and
he is one of those guys as well who has that X factor. He has that grappling game that is crazy good. Like, it's anything can happen when it hits the floor, and that's always fun. Like, we were just talking about Francis Ngannou, who has that X factor of, this guy hits you're probably going to go down. And it's similar with Brian Ortega. If he wraps you up in something, he's a real finisher on the ground. And that's exciting. I really like guys who have that X factor. We're not going to cover the other fights on the card, but some decent ones there. Daryl Horcher against Scott Holtzman's a good one. Scott Holtzman's a bit of a grinder, where Daryl Horcher has some real knockout power, so that could be good. Eric Anders, I think he's a former football player. Again, another grinder versus Marcus Perez, who, watch out for chokes, because that guy has a serious amount of chokes on his resume. Benito Lopez against Albert Morales, decent scrap. Alexis Davis, who hasn't looked great against Liz Carmouche, who has looked up and down as well, is on the card. I'm not sure if there's anything else that sticks out to you.
No, that's about it, I'd say. We've been spoiled for MMA. 218 went down the weekend, and I think this is an excellent main event.
Top three, main event is quality.
I think the top three are great fights.
And that's why we covered them. on obviously Fight Talk.
All on obviously Fight Talk. But no, enjoy the hostilities.
The festivities.
Well, we see
festivities is coming up soon.
It's there. It's Christmas.
Yeah.
It's red suit time.
Yeah.
But this being obviously Fight Talk episode 92, we'd like to thank Brendan Dorman for coming on and insulting me throughout. Aljamain Sterling, pleasure to talk to him. Fight week. Looking forward to watching his fight this weekend. So definitely check that out as well. And to you, Rob.
Thanks, man.
The news was great.
Yeah, the news was good, wasn't it? Some decent news. Good. Yeah, some good cards. Bit of a pep in the step over that card on the weekend.
Yeah,
you know,
excellent. No, it is, and like it was a good card for the UFC again. That's somebody said it to me as well. You know, all these big fights and these big crazy moments. You know, the UFC, they're starting to hit the home runs. They're starting to not rely on the likes of needing that one big superstar. That, you know, there's new superstars up and coming. But obviously, Fight Talk 92. Fight Star Ireland, fair play to you. Check them out. Everything you need on their 2 reels. MMA Mix, fair play to you.
Fair play to you.
They're obviously good.
Because they're with obviously Fight Talk.
Obviously Fight Talk. And feelsupreme.co.uk. Fight Talk. CBD.
Sure, they sort out the Chinese.
They sort out the Chinese.
Yeah, handed this one.
They can sort out you. But yeah, this has been 92. Hit subscribe down below. You've probably gone away now.
And hit like and comment. And dislike. Whatever you want.
Yeah, we tailed off there near the end as well. A big shout out actually, Cage Legacy 5. You've definitely gone now, but Cage Legacy 5 up in Newry was absolutely phenomenal.
Flying knees, all over the shop.
If you check it out on Facebook, we'll probably try share it there later on. Becky McLean with a beautiful finish. But this has been 92. I've been O'Keefe. He's been Palin. He was Dorman. The other fellow was Sterling, and this was a Sterling show.
Nice.
And we're out.